welcome to the show Dr. Reid Rubsamen and Naveen Jain.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
There are doctors all over the world and people who are trying to cure AIDS and developing vaccines. What is your approach to the disease and this drug?
Well, we're trying to copy something that already works. We know that 1 in 300 people living with HIV are essentially immune in a very important way to HIV, and they won't progress to AIDS. Laboratories across the world have come up with a list of reasons for this, and one hypothesis that we believe in is they're targeting the Achilles heel of the HIV virus with their killer T cells. We want to make everybody an HIV controller, and we designed a vaccine platform, a delivery system based on the microspheres you saw in the intro video to make everyone seek out these Achilles heel targets.
You're basically on Kickstarter
going... Is it like a Kickstarter to find a cure for AIDS?
Well...
in the best way, it's awesome. I love that idea.
Yeah, so we used actually a platform called Crowdtilt to do this, but it's very similar to Kickstarter. And that's exactly right. So anyone could effectively pledge to donate dollars to our vaccine research program. And we had our budget listed and our process and what exactly we were doing with the dollars. And we were super transparent. We continue to be very transparent in terms of what exactly we were doing and what our progress is.
So you're trying to keep sort of two parties happy. You've got the academic community, the scientific community, and then also the people who funded your research. How do you keep both parties informed and up to date?
Yeah, so I think what we're doing in terms of the science community is we're following through on making sure that we're getting our work peer-reviewed and published. So, in fact, our animal studies just got peer-reviewed and published in the scientific journal Vaccine. So that's really important because it's validation from the science community.
I get their swimsuit issue every year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. And then in terms of our donors, we're being super open and transparent and educating them on what the heck we're doing. So one thing we did recently, which is pretty cool, and we're just still working on it, so still work in progress, but we put our vaccine article up on Rap Genius, and we're actually annotating it so that we can educate everybody on all these crazy jargony words that exist, in the world of science and biology. And I dropped out of college, so for me, it's education for me too, in terms of what our team is doing in the lab. And so we're putting that up on Rap Genius so we can annotate it. So Reid and other members of our science team are actually going on there and putting up in layman terms what the heck all of this stuff even means and where we are with our project.
Doctor, why isn't anyone else doing this?
Well, we have a unique combination of capabilities. I was in the drug delivery industry for almost 20 years. I understand a lot of the key parameters that you have to put into play to make something tiny. In this case, these tiny targets look big and to produce an immune response in a person. So we have technology. We also have we live in a time when people have used marvelous statistical tools and supercomputers to understand how HIV controllers work. So now we can put those two things together and move forward something interesting.
Because you've crowdsourced and you can move fast, you've been able to get these funds quicker. But science is traditionally slow, and you got to make sure that everything's perfect because you're dealing with human life. How do you balance that quickness with the science?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you can't rush an experiment, right? So, for example, our human blood experiments, there's almost 1,000 steps in every experiment, and it takes 30 days from start to finish. There's nothing we can do to speed up that part of the process. So just because we're cutting the potentially years of time that it takes to raise the funds doesn't mean that we're short-circuiting or cutting corners on the actual work itself. But I guess the point is that actually Scientific American had a great stat, which was that scientists and researchers spend an average of 40% of their time fundraising versus actually doing the work that they studied and worked so hard to do. So if you think about it, just cutting out that 40% of time, that's really what the focus is at Immunity Project in terms of really trying to move this research and this project forward to hopefully end HIV and AIDS as soon as humanly possible.
They all need a you, clearly, to get them the money. How can the general public get involved and help and support?
Well, first of all, visit immunityproject.org and please take a little bit of time, learn about our project. And also remember that HIV and AIDS is not going away without a vaccine.
If you guys care about these issues, please get involved. Go to takepart.com/world and join our cause. Get the newsletter.